Hey guys, I'm back again with another review of H.P. Lovecraft's From Beyond from 1986. Directed by Stuart Golden, starring Jeffrey Combs, Barbara Crampton, Ken Foray, Ted Sorrell, Karen Purgy Golden. So this is the cover, this is the slipcase. That's the reverse cover. I actually quite like that. That's the other way. Different pictures on the sides, I guess. I mean, in different order. There's one different picture on there. You go inside and you've got the DVD and the blue is on, as most people say, right there. And yeah, I got done watching this earlier, and what can I say about it? It's quite an interesting movie. So it's got Jeffrey Combs in it, who also starred in The Reanimator, which is based on another H.P. Lovecraft film, also starring Barbara Crampton. So the two leads in this technically were like the two leads in The Reanimator as well, of another H.P. Lovecraft film. So that's kind of interesting. So basically what happens is Crawford Tillinghast, who's basically Jeffrey Combs, he's working on this machine. And basically he gets it working. And he runs down to Dr. Edward Pretorius and tells him. So they run upstairs to it, and what it's all about is they're making what's the word? That's it. They're making a resonator, which is supposed to basically give a sixth sense and stimulate the pineal gland in the dominant part of the brain. But the problem is, it brings these kind of monsters thing from a sixth dimension. And they're like these little bug things, they're flying. Bad CGI because it was 1986, but you can live with it. And they come, and one of them bites Tillinghast on the cheek, and the other, and then you find out that Edward Pretorius is killed. The neighbour next door complains about the noise to the place. She ends up running out of there. But funny enough, Crawford runs out in front of her, which is even more funny. Well, he ends up getting locked in a straitjacket because they think he killed Edward. And basically, he didn't, but he's going on about how it's to do with the resonator. So the resonator is broken. And in comes Dr. Catherine McMichaels. And she's played by Barbara Crampton, who was in The Reanimator, like I said earlier. And she basically says to him she wants him to check it, she wants to do it, she wants to take him home and have him signed into her care. And she ends up with the law enforcement man, Bubba Brownlee, played by Ken Foray. And to be honest with you, he's really good in the role, and so is she. So get back to the story. They get back to home, and obviously Crawford's not too happy. I think he would have rather been kind of like in the asylum. And basically, they make him fix it. He fixes it, they do it, and then all of a sudden, everybody starts feeling weird. Because they see Edward again, Mr. Dr. Pretorius. They see him again, but he looks normal, except he's naked. And he's looking at him, and he tells Crawford to touch him. And he turns to mush kind of thing on the shoulder. And basically he goes, it's just a face. And basically you see this kind of monster coming out of him. And it's really creepy. Really good, but very creepy. So they fight to turn the machine off, and Dr. McMichaels, Catherine, she's obsessed with getting it back on because it kind of gives people this kind of sexual high as well, this sexual ecstasy, where, like, for instance, Crawford and Catherine are kind of getting ready to kiss each other and do all sorts of stuff because of the way it makes them feel. And Bubba Brownlee feels it as well, but obviously not as much. He just gets an erection because he mentions it in the movie. And so Catherine says she wants him to turn it back on, even though it's almost killed them. And he's like, no, I don't want that to happen. I don't want that to happen. Crawford's against it. But she ends up going against the wishes of it. And basically, the guy, Dr. Pretorius comes back as this really ugly monster. Every time you see him when the sixth dimension is open, it gets more and more disgusting. And basically, there's a bit where Crawford goes, "What's happened to you, Edward?" And he goes, "I'm myself." And the truth is, he is. Because earlier on in the film, you kind of find it was a bit into S&M and he liked whipping women and stuff. It's kind of creepy, but really good. So basically what happens is open the sixth dimension, basically it ends up opening itself. Catherine gets more and more weird. She goes from like this sexually repressed character kind of thing to being over sexual. There's a scene in it where she puts on some sexy clothing and basically starts riding Crawford while he's out of it because he ends up bored from this weird kind of worm thing having him in his mouth and all sorts of things. And he has this thing bulging in his third eye area. And you sit there going, wow, she's got a nice ass. You sit there thinking she's got a nice bum, you know? And very beautiful. And basically there's a bit in it where Ken Foray, as Barbara Brownlee says to her, "Oh, you want it, don't you? You're gonna get it." And then he throws her in front of a mirror and says, "This ain't you, is it?" And all this. But I really like the bit where he goes, "You're gonna get it." You know, because it made me laugh. So basically what happens then is she puts on the resonator comes on and he ends up getting chased by Dr. Pretorius and all this other stuff, and then he ends up being in the hospital because they think he's dead. And he wakes up. Basically, the thing pops out of his head more, and he starts sucking people's eyes out and stuff. It's a really bonkers, crazy film. It's one of those films where it's kind of really hard to explain. The story's very simple, but explaining what happens to the characters is quite weird. Because you want to explain it, you want to kind of put it in good terms, but you can't. Because it being a H.P. Lovecraft book-based film, it's very, very nutty. It's one of those things that you kind of go in your own kind of dimension, your own world. You watch it, and it's like you kind of relate to the characters, but you're in this world. It's not like a bit like Hellraiser, where you can talk about and you can say things about, but it's like watching a different dimension, and you see all this kind of disturbing stuff going on in it. All the people that played their roles, Jeffrey Combs, Barbara Crampton, Ted Sorrell, Ken Foray, they were the main ones. They were spot on. Excellent. Ted Sorrell was awesome as the bad guy. I mean, perfect. And when the killer bees come, I'm guessing it's the killer bees, and they eat Ken Foray's whole body and leave him in bones, and just his head going, ugh. I thought that was a great special effect. Again, the special effects in this film are fantastic. The CGI, not so much. But you can kind of forgive that because of the time it comes from. You know, it's 1986 after all. But the special effects are wonderful. The way Dr. Edward Pretorius turns more and more disturbing, more and more disgusting and creepy through the movie, it's just excellently done. Because no matter what, you can still tell it's him. At the end, when basically Crawford and him fight in the same kind of body, and Crawford's pulling himself out and tearing them to shreds, it's great. I love it. I just think it's one of those crazy movies that you have to watch and you'd really, really love. I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I preferred the Reanimator more. Maybe because I don't know. I just prefer the Reanimator more. Maybe because it's more cool in my view, because he brings people back to life kind of thing. You know, he animates them. But yeah, the characters in this film are spot on. I love it. The way Jeffrey Combs plays Crawford when he kind of is losing it, where he's eating brains and all this, it's just really well done. And he looks like a guy who's seriously being tormented. See, the pineal gland in the brain, let me get the right words. Let me get the right word up. I want the right word. The pineal gland in the dominant part of the brain is supposed to help with some sort of research with, I think it's like Alzheimer's or something, or schizophrenia, one of them. I think it's schizophrenia. And basically instead it makes them more demented and more crazy. And basically they kind of get that weird thing. And it's interesting because it's kind of showing that research, sometimes it's for good, but it turns into bad, if you get what I'm saying. And I just think the film is perfect in that sense. Because we all push ourselves and we all want to do as much as we can to help, like cure cancer, cure disabilities, all sorts of things, get rid of Alzheimer's and stuff. But maybe to a degree we're not supposed to, because it can do severe side effects on us, like what happens to Jeffrey Combs' character Crawford with the whole pineal gland from the from the brain. I'm not saying that we should do research, because we have to do research to sort people out, make sure people are okay, and help the future generations. But what I'm saying is their research started, I'm guessing, to be a good thing, but it didn't end up a good thing. So the film itself, I'll give it a 4.5. Highly entertaining. I think it's great. I highly recommend it. If you haven't seen it, you definitely got to check it out. It's available in England on Blu-ray, and it's available in America from Shout Factory. Both beautiful editions. Highly recommend them. Great film. Jeffrey Combs is always awesome. I love Jeffrey Combs. Barbara Crampton is very beautiful. And Ken Foray, what can I say? Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, Dawn of the Dead, Death Spa, as well as many others. Great actor, great person. Yeah, so 4.5. Give it a watch. Hope you enjoyed the review. If you've seen it, let me know what you thought of the movie. It's one hell of a crazy ride, but it's one of those crazy rides you just don't want to get off of. So thanks for watching, guys. Take care. I hope you enjoyed the review.